Hey, what's up you guys? Welcome back. Today I am finally doing my Bare Minerals video. I've been talking about doing this video for about a year now, and I honestly just kind of like forgot about doing it because I haven't been wearing foundation really, but this was really highly requested from you guys, so I thought that I would finally freaking do it. For those of you guys that don't know, I number one love doing how-to tutorials and going super in-depth with something very specific, and I like to go really in-depth and educational with them, almost like overloading you with too much information. So that's number one. And number two, I actually used to be a manager at a Bare Minerals boutique. I worked there for about 2 years and it was my first job in makeup, and it really started and launched my love for makeup. So I'm going to go over a lot of my tips and tricks, techniques for applying this, and kind of help you overcome any obstacles that you are having with this foundation. So I hope you guys enjoy. Please subscribe and turn on bell notifications so that you're notified every time I upload a new video just like this one. And let's get started. So first things first, you want to make sure your skin is primed. If you use primer, I personally love using primer. I just think it gives a really nice base to my skin. And then if you're going to be using cream products for concealing, make sure you use those first. Usually we do foundation first and then we conceal, but this way you want to do it backwards because you're going to be going in with a powder foundation. So I already put some concealer underneath my eyes, and then I had a couple breakouts, like a couple over here and a couple down here that I went in with concealer. It is not totally necessary for those things to be completely covered because you can go in with a very full coverage with this foundation. That's why I lightly went over those areas. I'm not breaking out a ton, but it is a little bit redder in those areas and you can still kind of see them peeking through. I did though, I wanted to make sure I got a full coverage underneath my eyes just because I usually don't put foundation there in the first place. Bare Minerals does have concealers, powder concealers that you can use. I'm just personally, I never was a fan, so but it's been a long time since I've worked there, so it's possible that I like them now. I just don't use them. So usually my color is the fairly light color. I love the matte formula. I am going to be using a different one today though because I have a spray tan on, and medium beige for me when I'm tan is like, it's perfect. Those are like my two perfect shades. When I am fair, it's fairly light. When I am tan, medium beige. So I have a different packaging though for my medium beige packaging. This is actually a pretty old container, and it's one of those jumbo size ones that they would come out with during the holiday Christmassy season. So here's my medium beige one, and it's in the original formula. The difference between the matte and the original formula is that the matte is going to end up drying more of a matte finish without that luminosity to the skin, where the original is just going to give you a little glow. When you kind of move your face, you're going to see a little bit of a glow to it. The matte is still my favorite because I am more oily, but it's like 5:30 at night and I'm gonna be washing this off soon. Plus I'm tan, so the medium beige original is what I'm gonna be going for today. I think the most unique thing about this foundation is that it is a foundation. First of all, it's got more natural ingredients, but it is a powder that dries to a cream. So if you have dry skin, do not be afraid of this foundation, especially the original. It's gonna give a very beautiful glow to your skin, but it's gonna go on in a powder form, and after about 30 minutes to an hour, it's just gonna look so good. It's gonna look really creamy, just like your skin. It just looks healthy on your skin. When I worked there, I wasn't like a huge believer in it just because I wanted to only wear like full, thick, like cakey liquid foundation. Like to me, that is what I thought looked good, instead of like your skin looking like skin. Even though you can get a full coverage out of it, it's still nice that when your skin looks like skin and not like a bottle of liquid cakey foundation. My opinion now is that I prefer the more natural look, but I can appreciate a thick layer of liquid foundation as well. So I like them both. So I think the most important thing when you're using the foundation is that when you're done with it, you completely close the cap. So this is what the inside of mine looks like. This is the one that I'm usually using because this is the fairly light one in the matte formula that I use all the time. This piece here opens up, and even when I open it up, I don't open it up all the way because you only want to use a dime-sized amount every time you use the product. And then as soon as I'm done, I just close that sucker back up and I put the cap back on so that I don't have any issues. So I'll open it like that much. And then I think one of the mistakes people will do is they'll take this when they open it and they'll tap the side or they'll shake it to get product out. And then your container looks like this. This is where people will spill their foundation everywhere. It gets messy. That's like one of the #1 complaints I hear, is that Bare Minerals is just so messy, or just mineral foundation in general is messy. Since this one's an old packaging, they don't have the sifter. However, all of them come with this now where you can open it and close it, and it makes it so that you don't have any extra powder. So just make sure you close it, and it will not be messy at all whatsoever. So I am going to be demonstrating with this, but using my actual shade. Like I said, you only want to use a dime-sized amount at a time. So for instance, say yours is messy like this, you don't want to go in with your brush and just dunk it in and start slathering it all over. If you are applying your Bare Minerals or any loose powder foundation and there's powder in the air as you're applying it, do less.
You're doing too much, do less.
When I first did it, I was like, why? I want more coverage. You want to work in small amounts and work up and build up to that full coverage, because if you go in full right away, it's going to be full coverage and you're going to waste a ton of product because it's going to be everywhere in the air. It's going to be on your bathroom counter. It's going to be everywhere. So what you want to do is open up so that you see those like 3 little dots, and you want to take your cap and just go do 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 do. That's actually a little bit too much product. So if you're using more than that in your cap, then try going down to this much. You can always add more later, but you only want to work with this much at a time. Then you want to grab your brush. Bare Minerals has a bunch of brushes that are really good. I personally love this one to apply any powder foundations or even liquid foundations. I love the IT Cosmetics #7 brush. This is really good. When you apply it, you want to take your brush directly in here. Make sure you have a good hold on the cap and just swirl it. A little bit of powder should go around, but I did put too much in here, so that's why there's extra. But once you think you've got it in there, keep going. They told us that this is like one of the most important parts of using your foundation, is really blending it in on the cap. You shouldn't see anything on the outside of your brush. It's gonna look like your brush ate your foundation, and that's a good thing, because as you deposit it on your face, it's going to slowly deposit it on and blend it in really nicely, and the longer you buff it on your skin, the better. So before you get to that, you want to tap off the excess. And now you want to buff it on the skin. I work in little segments of my face at a time. You could do all over at once, but I just think it's really good to just do like one section of your face and then another, because then you can see how much coverage you really have, and then not move on until you have that coverage that you like. So I'm gonna take this, and I'm not pressing in on my skin. I'm very lightly doing small little buffing motions. And again, the longer you do this, like say you're like, okay, I'm not getting like any coverage, just keep going. All of that product that you put in your cap is loaded in that brush, and it's evenly distributing all over your skin. Like that to me is already a good enough coverage. But say, like for instance, you see how I've got some redness there still? You can take like the smaller side of your brush and go back in. Now they've got concealer brushes. You can use the flat concealer brush too. Like say you've got like a flatter brush that you wanted to use to conceal. You could take that, just spin it flat like this, like that, you know? And then you can go in and spot conceal. So right now I'm gonna spot conceal, and I'm using this small side just to work on those little areas that need the TLC. I'm doing the little circles. You could do little like mini patting motions. That's what's gonna give you that more full coverage. Get around the nose area, that's what really needs it, yeah. So here's the before, and then here's the after. It does seem like a process, but trust me, once you kind of like nail it and you are avoiding making such a huge mess with it and everything, it goes really quick. This is one of my favorite foundations for sure. And this isn't sponsored, by the way. This is just a video that I've wanted to do for a while, then I forgot about it, and then I've had just a bunch of requests from you guys to do it, so that's why I'm trying to give you a very informational application video. I feel like Bare Minerals has really stepped up their game in the past couple of years. Their makeup when I worked there wasn't my absolute favorite. However, recently they just, I don't know, I feel like I'm really loving their products. And the nose especially looks really good with this foundation. It looks really smooth and buttery. Just remember with yours, make sure you close this so that it looks just like this as soon as you're done with it. And then you can put the cap back on. You can even shake this thing up, watch. and there's nothing in there. You know what I mean? So just keep that in mind when you're using your mineral products, because it shouldn't be a mess. If you have a mess, just try this out and see if you like it. So that completes everything for this video. I really hope that this was informational and helpful. I know when I first started working at Bare Minerals, it was definitely a learning curve. I had to go through a lot of education to learn exactly how to do it, not only on myself, but on clients. I feel like it's a very popular foundation, yet it's very underrated. So if you guys have tried it out and it didn't work for you for one reason or another, I highly recommend you try it out again, because it is one of my favorite foundations. And if you don't like it, that's cool too. We all have our different preferences and stuff like that, but I hope you guys found this helpful. So thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe and hit the bell notifications, and I will see you in my next tutorial. Bye.